Welcome to Facts for Real videos. The 7 wonders of the world are the subject of our current investigation. Let's investigate the enigmatic. Chichen Itza, a Maya metropolis, is where archaeologists unintentionally found new artifacts and caves just 3 years ago. We'll also learn how residents of this long-forgotten city established an empire in the desert, and why a black duplicate of the Taj Mahal was almost built next to it. Please consider subscribing to our channel if you enjoy this video. Please be sure to click that button if you like our videos. Let's begin with Chichen Itza in Mexico right now. One of history's most extraordinary civilizations, the Maya culture has left a lasting impression on South America. They created sophisticated writing systems, sophisticated astronomical systems, and a 365-day calendar that could correctly forecast solar eclipses. To this day, archaeologists are finding new Mayan cities with the aid of cutting-edge radar technology. The city of Chichen Itza is one of the Maya civilization's most intriguing locations. It was constructed close to 4 cenotes that provided fresh water. But in one of these, archaeologists made a fascinating discovery. At the so-called Holy Cenote, they discovered thousands of items, including priceless artifacts made of gold and other materials as well as human skeletons. The Maya used this cenote as a location for bloodletting and human sacrifice to the rain god as part of their rituals. In light of this, let's examine the magnificent city. There are 26 Mayan ruins in total in Chichen Itza, including the well-known El Castillo Pyramid, which is 30 meters tall. The pyramid was a temple that was constructed between the 9th and the 12th century. 4 stairways with 91 stairs each encircle it. There are a total of 365 steps leading up to the pyramid, which corresponds to the number of days in the Mayan calendar, after the last step at the platform is included. The pyramid also includes 9 terraces, which, in Maya religion, represent the 9 levels of heaven. El Castillo is not a single pyramid on top of all that. Archaeologists discovered a second pyramid temple inside the pyramid in the 1930s. Inside this second temple, they discovered a crimson jaguar-shaped throne among other things. 2015 saw yet another remarkable discovery uncovered under El Castillo by researchers. They discovered another cenote that is thought to have sacred significance to the worshippers beneath the temple. Researchers think that El Castillo was a site of human sacrifice, and that the hidden cenote served as a conduit between the human remains and the afterlife because Chichen Itza investigations also turned up human remains. When the sun's rays come from a specific direction twice a year, another occurrence can be seen. Visitors can observe a huge serpent shadow falling from the top of the pyramid on El Castillo's outer ring. The head is located near the base of it. There are likely a lot more topics to investigate. Chichen Itza was rediscovered about 150 years ago, and excavations have been going on there ever since. However, new discoveries continue to be made today. So far just a fifth of the site has been investigated. Only January 2019, archaeologists searching for holy cenotes stumbled into a network of caves housing more than 150 Maya ritual artifacts. Archaeologists may finally receive some answers about Chichen Itza's collapse as a result of these discoveries. It is unclear if there are any further mysteries hidden in these tunnels, but it is certain that this Mayan ruin has more tales to share. Europe's Colosseum chariot racing and horrific gladiator battles made ancient Rome well known. They already knew how to amuse their people under the motto of bread and games, and we can only picture the mood at these events nowadays. Rome had approximately 200 of these locations in all, but none of them could compare to the grandeur and magnificence of the Colosseum. The Colosseum was first built in 72 AD, with the majority of the money coming from the Roman conquest of Jerusalem. One of the finest examples of architectural achievement of its day, the Colosseum's building was no small effort. The concrete mix used in building is the key to the Colosseum's endurance. The Romans employed a gummy lime and volcanic ash mortar. And even though today's concrete is around 10 times stronger, it appears that their concrete has excellent long-term resistance. The Colosseum was constructed in 5 levels, with a foundation that was 13 meters deep, rising to a height of 50 meters. Large amounts of travertine stone were needed for the structure, and it had to be shipped from the quarries near Tivoli, which were around 30 kilometers away. Workers utilized wooden cranes with a weight supporting the load to lift the stones to the top. Construction required close to 100,000 workers, and it was finished in less than 10 years. The oval-shaped arena had a height of 50 meters, a length of 190 meters, and a width of 156 meters. It just goes to demonstrate how advanced their building abilities were, that they could construct something of that size in such a short amount of time without using many sophisticated tools. The Colosseum served as the primary location for the most bloody sport ever, gladiator fighting, for the next 200 years. After the initial contests in the arena lasted for 100 days. The majority of gladiators were ex-offenders or prisoners of war who spent the whole school year receiving martial arts instruction. After enduring hours-long battles with formidable foes and the sweltering sun throughout the games, the majority of these fighters perished in the amphitheater. Towards the end of the 4th century, gladiator combat was outlawed because the church deemed it unacceptable in a civilized society. The Colosseum served as the prototype for our modern stadiums, while other contests proceeded for many more decades. Jordanian Petra. The history of Petra began 2,000 years ago when Arabian nomads landed in the southern Jordanian desert. Because they had previously lived in rugged mountains and arid deserts, the settlers known as the Nabateans selected this place. They were able to outwit adversaries by making use of their understanding of this specific setting. Also, their city developed into the junction of 6 important spice trading routes. Along the trade routes, the settlers began offering lodging and water, and they began charging foreign traders who crossed their land a toll. These erstwhile nomads soon began to dominate a significant portion of the spice trade. Richer inhabitants began constructing a state in the desert, complete with the name Rakma for the capital. They carved the capital out of sandstone using primitive tools and rock-cutting skills. The monastery and the treasury, 2 of the most significant structures, were plastered, and brightly colored roses were used to paint them to give them a magnificent appearance. They were also experts at conserving water. The locals created a network of pipes and dams to collect, store, and distribute rainfall throughout the year. The Nabateans were able to live because of their water-saving practices despite the region receiving only 6 inches of rain annually. The Nabatean kingdom grew over time, reaching its height around the end of the 1st century, when 20,000 people lived in the capital. However, the city changed its name to Petra during the Roman expansion, and was made a Roman province. When maritime trade routes and fresh routes up north essentially supplanted the routes through Petra, the once thriving city began to decline in the 4th century. A significant earthquake that devastated Petra occurred a few years into this decline. The fact that many of its buildings were destroyed served as the death knell for it. Petra had undergone some rehabilitation, but by the 7th century, it had been largely forgotten. In 1812, Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt reintroduced the world to Petra's ruins. Since then, explorers have kept digging through the desert sand to find the once great metropolis. About 800 lost monuments have been found at Petra, where excavations have been going on for almost a century. Only 15% of the city has been found so far, and the majority of the relics are still buried beneath the surface. The Indian Taj Mahal. India's most popular structure is the magnificent Taj Mahal, which receives 7 to 8 million visitors annually. The Taj Mahal was constructed under the rule of Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, and is located on the right bank of the revered river Yamuna. He wanted to construct a suitable memorial, as a way to show his love after losing his 3rd and dearest wife. He therefore gave the order to build a lavish mausoleum that had never been built before. The Taj Mahal was erected over the course of 2 decades, beginning in 1631, with the labor of some 20,000 people. As the Mughals ruled the majority of South Asia, elephants were used to transport building supplies to the construction site from all over the continent. The main building, which included a 35-meter central tomb encircled by 4 minarets, was finished 17 years later. These minarets were built with a little outward tilt to ensure that, in the event of a collapse, they would fall away from the tomb. The Taj Mahal's facade is made of white marble, which has earned it worldwide recognition. Its inside, which is embellished with 40 different kinds of precious stones, is similarly remarkable. The Taj Mahal's construction cost more than 32 million Indian rupees, equal to $1 billion now, at the time because of the intricate stonework and pricey ornamentation. This places the Taj Mahal on par with the Great Pyramid of Giza, as one of the most costly funeral sites in recorded history. According to a legend, Shah Jahan planned to erect a black Taj Mahal across the river since he was so pleased with his work. The entire structure should be made of black marble. Shah Jahan himself was to be buried in this replica, and he also intended to build a golden bridge to connect the two tombs. He was unable to construct another one, though. He previously overspent on the original Taj Mahal by using up the riches of the empire. And when his son took over the empire, he put his father under house arrest because of this. Brazil's Christ the Redeemer. Today's list comes to a close with a relatively new building that represents Christianity all over the world. Jesus was originally supposed to be holding a globe and a cross in the statue's other hand. However, the design was altered, and it is now 30 meters tall with arms that can reach a distance of 28 meters out in front of it. The statue, which is often referred to as Christ Redentor, is situated atop Rio de Janeiro's Mount Corcovado, which soars more than 700 meters above the city. The statue was originally created in France using clay components, which were then sent to Brazil where concrete was used to recreate it. The statue was brought to the top of the hill in pieces due to its enormous size, where it was put together on an 8-meter pedestal. The third tallest Jesus statue in the world, Christ the Redeemer, was constructed in the 20th century, making it relatively modern compared to the previous entries on this list. Because of this, many people are perplexed as to why Christ the Redeemer is included in a list of 7 wonders that also features the pyramids, the Great Wall of China, and Chichen Itza. One explanation is that a significant portion of the people in Brazil and the rest of the world is influenced greatly by Christ the Redeemer. And because of its widespread visibility, the statue garnered many votes when the modern wonders of the world were selected in an online ballot in 2007. Rio de Janeiro has unquestionably been impacted by Christ the Redeemer. The statue has come to represent the city and has contributed significantly to its culture. As a result of the site's spiritual influence over millions of individuals worldwide, about 2 million people visit it each year. Tens of millions of people cast votes in favor of the wonders of the contemporary world overall, but what do you think? What would be on your list of the top 7? Do you believe that Christ the Redeemer deserves to be listed here? Or were there any other locations deserving of a spot? Tell us in the comments section below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.